Well, welcome everyone to the Nerd Nook. I'm your host, Evan Teague, with me, like always, is Noah Bailey. So this past week there was some film festival. I didn't write down the name of it, but there was some event thing that meant a lot of different studios released a bunch of information about things. So we have a ton of content to discuss today, starting with the fact that Jon Watts, the director of the most recent Spider-Man trilogy, has officially left the Fantastic Four MCU reboot. So, yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm not, it's like, I'm not sure. I hope it's not, because again, whenever someone leaves, you immediately think, uh-oh, is this a dumpster fire? Which, it's kind of early to be like, oh, wow, we don't know anything about this and it's already like kaput, but like, it is Fantastic Four, so like they're not exactly due to stickers, so like I don't know.
So I have several different thoughts about this. First, yes, Fantastic Four movies are cursed. They are literally always bad. Like the best one was the 2005 one, and that one was not a good movie. So it is in Marvel's best interest to get this one right. I personally feel like Jon Watts was a good person to do that with. I personally really like the Spider-Man MCU trilogy. I know some people don't love those movies. Anything they don't love, I feel, could have been due to the fact that those movies were kind of muddled in the fact that it was both Sony and Marvel kind of having to work together on it. And Jon Watts kind of caught in the middle. So him just working fully under Marvel maybe could have shined a little more, but him leaving isn't necessarily a bad thing, considering something similar happened with Multiverse of Madness, where originally Scott Derrickson, the guy that made the first Doctor Strange, he left the project in 2020, and they almost immediately brought in Sam Raimi, and now the movie's coming out next week and it looks really good. So really just depends on who they get to come in and make it.
Yeah, I guess if like if someone else picks it up and it's like, oh, cool, like that makes more sense, or that could work, or something like that, then it's like, okay. But you just, I don't know, I guess like you just worry a little bit whenever you see someone just like drop something, especially when so little is known about what's actually going on. It kind of like, it kind of just feels like, uh-oh. Like
it is definitely better that it's dropped now when we know nothing about the movie. Like, I don't think casting, I don't think really, maybe like very early storyboarding has happened, but nothing like set in stone yet. So it'd be one thing if like they were deep into production, like, like they already started filming, they had all the cast ready, everything like was ready to film, and then all of a sudden the director had to leave for whatever reason. And they had to bring a different director. That's happened with Disney even before with Solo, and that didn't turn out the best. So, on top of all the other instances with, DC with various situations, instances with that. So it'd be one thing if that happened, but because we are still so early in the making of the movie, it still easily could come out, 2024 at the earliest and be just fine, assuming they get a director and a good team behind it to make it.
Yeah, which there is still plenty of time. Let's not act like it's coming out like next month, but like, yeah, they can definitely pick this up.
Yeah. And also, not to mention, because it is an MCU movie, not that the director doesn't matter as much, because there are definitely some MCU movies that like the director made that movie, like Taika Waititi, James Gunn, like even the Russo brothers, like they like put their stamp on those movies. But like, there's some movies that like I could easily see a situation where like it's mostly people in the writer's room and people who have been making, been a part of this journey, like Kevin Feige, the writers who have been part of this journey for the entire time and just make it, and the director just like tells them how to put it on the big screen, as opposed to the director like being in the room. I don't know if that's as necessary anymore at this point in the stage. So they easily could still work on the actual script and casting, especially because casting is usually done independent of, as far as I know, independent of the director anyway for MCU stuff. So they still could move the project along while finding a new director.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because again, I mean, granted, when it is an earlier project, it's like, oh yeah, like this is this is going to be the first Fantastic Four movie. We don't necessarily know if there will be something like leading into it or something like that, because that could definitely change. Like, oh no, like they're starting out with no directors. All this is like, well, if that movie's kind of like not grandfathered in, but kind of like a nice transition is made going right into it. It's not gonna, what I mean, it's like just don't. They're pretty much gonna hand them like a hey, here's what we're doing, so just don't drop the ball. So
Yeah.
depending on how that goes, but I think it'll definitely be okay because there is still plenty of time. And I think as long as it's not, I don't know, it's too early to tell.
Yeah. And yeah, like I think there are dozens and dozens of very good directors out there that could easily make a good Fantastic Four movie. Essentially, I think the main thing that could make this MCU Fantastic Four movie kind of feel lacking is if they make Doctor Doom or whoever the villain is another like victim of Tony Stark. Like they don't do that.
But like at that point they'd have to do that on purpose. Like, come on,
like I could easily see a scenario where something like the Armor Wars show that's coming out that could like essentially introduce Doctor Doom in that, and then him use Tony's tech to make his Doctor Doom outfit. I don't think I want that. I'd rather it be his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I could kind of see that, and that may be working, but I don't want that.
Yeah, I kind of want it to be more independent. We don't really want like, I get that like they're trying to make like I feel like that'd be if they try to make that to make the universe feel more connected, it would feel kind of too on the nose. It'd be like I feel like especially with something as big as Doctor Doom, they kind of need to be their own entity. They don't need like heavily inspired or negatively inspired by this and that. And it's just like just kind of make them just kind of pop out. Like, you don't just have to be this whole like connected to Tony stuff. But
yeah. So yeah, I'm not freaking out yet. Probably a new director will be announced by the end of summer, probably, and then they'll go from there. I have no reason to doubt that this movie is going to at least be decent right now. If the casting is weird or if they just looks bad, that's one thing. But right now, I'm not too worried. Sticking with MCU stuff, for some reason, Ant-Man 3 and The Marvels have switched release dates. Originally, The Marvels was going to come out February 17th, 2023, and Ant-Man Quantumanium was going to come out July 28th, 23. Now those release dates have swapped. So that's interesting.
That's interesting. Maybe I try to think, but I don't see how that. But like, I don't really know what's connected through that. So it's kind of like maybe just cause or like. Do you think this is because of any other movies like coming in point? Like this is gonna like, because this is gonna more directly affect, Ant-Man's world than it is the like
So I was always a little wary about the fact that Kang showed up at the very end of Loki, which was summer 2021, and then we wouldn't see more Kang until summer 2023. But now that's getting pushed up to February 2023, so it's a little less time between.
Yeah, but like it's not like. I mean, it's still gonna be more than a year and change.
Yes.
So like, I wouldn't say that's like, this is an obvious move to connect that. It's more like, I guess it helps, but like, I feel like that wasn't the intended goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Although now there's over a year between Miss Marvel and the Marvels. So yeah, I don't know. My guess is that they probably just had they probably just had a much bigger vision for what they wanted the Marvels to be. So they just delayed it a bit, and Ant-Man was basically done, so they just moved it up.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, probably like all those, like, we're trying to dive into this. Like, what is the strategical plan? It's like, oh, this one's almost done. This one's not. So we're just.
It's good word time, yeah.
It's like the Pirates of the Caribbean. It's like the Avatar. It's not the Pirates. It's like that Avatar scene. It's like he's clearly a master of evasive maneuvers. Like, you have no clue where you're going, dude. He's like, no, they're just going wherever. Like us thinking they're masterminds of scheduling movies and continuity. Them. Wait, isn't this one more done with that one? Yeah, let's do that one. Okay.
Yeah. And probably, although probably, yeah, stuff from Multiverse of Madness will, like, I don't even know how that movie's gonna break this universe, but like maybe it would make more sense for Ant-Man to kind of like either clean it up or react to that sooner than later. So yeah, it will be interesting because the last two Ant-Man movies came out in that July time slot, and Captain Marvel came out in March of 2019. So now like the actual time their sequels are coming out are getting slot, but it's not a big deal. I'm sure they'll both do just fine. Yeah. Although ironically now, Ant-Man Quantumanium is actually going back to its original release date. When it was first announced, it was February 2023. Then it got delayed because everything got delayed. Now it's getting pushed back to where it was.
But maybe that's part of it too. Maybe it's like, you know what, we're gonna do this right, and then I don't know. I feel like, there's probably multiple side benefits of the movie as well. They're probably just like, oh, this one's different, this one's better, or not better, more done. To that. But yeah, I think, but it is weird because for me, Ant-Man does feel more like a summer movie though. So I feel like, yeah, I mean, not that February is bad, but I feel like, I don't know, like generally if I was like, when I think of Ant-Man, I think of like, a summer movie, like it's like the summer filler Marvel movie for the next thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, like I don't mean that in a mean way, because they're still good, but it's like, it's not like, oh yeah, Ant-Man, this is the whole year we're waiting on. It's like like right now is like, or like not now, but like in like June or something would be when like Ant-Man comes out, because it's like it's between Doctor Strange and Thor, so it's like, all right, just chew on this till we get to Thor, like, but
because the previous two Ant-Mans came out after an Avengers movie.
Right. So it's kind of right. So it's kind of like the kind of toned down, like, okay, let's we don't have to be a universe. But then again, this one might be a huge deal, because this one's gonna be, all the implications potentially. So I mean, this might be bigger than we think it is. So maybe it needs
Which also makes it feel like it maybe could be summer. I don't know. But regardless, I do think this says more about Ant-Man being done than it does the Marvels is bad and needs restructuring. I think I'm not more worried about the Marvels than I was before. Yeah. Okay. Moving away from Disney stuff into a whole bunch of random Sony stuff. We talked last week about the fact that Across the Spider-Verse got delayed out of this year into next June. Sony has officially dropped the part 1 from Across the Spider-Verse and now has renamed the sequel Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Ooh.
So yeah, that's okay.
So I'm starting to think there won't be 2 minimum. It'll just be 2. But you never know.
Yeah. Am I crazy for thinking that with a name like Beyond the Spider-Verse, the movie will end with live action? Like it'll just end with them just being real?
I did think there was going to be a live action crossover. I don't know if it's going to be them being real. I thought it would be more them like still animated, but like bringing in like Tom Holland Spider-Man, but like how he would look animated or something like that. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's also possible. Or like
Mhm.
they could do it Chowder and then just go into the recording booth and be like,
Yeah.
What's going on?" No, but no, I feel like it's possible, definitely. That would be probably the craziest thing ever, but I could see it theoretically. I mean, this movie doesn't hold back by any means, so
Hmm.
kind of cool.
Yeah, there is something very satisfying about a movie being a part one and a part two, but this is fine too. Again, I have no reason to ever doubt that Spider-Verse stuff is going to be not fantastic.
No,
So, yeah.
makes sense.
A Sony movie that I do have my doubts about and believe will not be fantastic. Apparently, Sony hasn't learned from the Morbius fiasco that people just don't want more of this kind of stuff, because they're not they're not fast tracking, like a Green Goblin movie. They're not fast tracking a Rhino or a Black Cat or any even like close to well known, not Mr. Negative, not Scorpion, not anybody who's even kind of well known. They're fast tracking an El Muerto movie. That is the correct response. El Muerto was a wrestler in exactly 2 Spider-Man issues.
No, who is this? Wait a minute.
He's a luchador. That's his whole thing.
Okay, that's dumb. But I mean,
They could have done Hydro Man or the Chameleon or
the Chameleon would have been way better. I mean, hell, who is
El Muerto?
Why?
I don't know. Like it's okay. So the phrase "no one asked for this" is thrown around a little too much these days. Like, there may have been somebody who really liked Michael Morbius. Maybe it's possible that someone actually asked for a Morbius movie, sure. But considering if if you hear that Sony is making an El Muerto movie, and you're like, yes, he is my favorite comic book character.
Hey, you don't read enough comics because
you apparently read one of the 2 comics he's in. Like,
where are
I'm
you?
not gonna exaggerate. He's literally been in 2 issues ever.
I've never.
There are so many Spider-Man villains.
I've never heard of this character ever. Oh my! Oh no! Bad Bunny.
Yep, Bad Bunny's playing him.
No, this can't be real.
It definitely has big "this is not getting made" energy.
Bro, I'm sorry. Someone lost a bet or something. This can't be.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Really.
Why? I mean, you're gonna pick a Spider-Man character that I mean, when I mean like unknown, like when I thought like Morbius was a character nobody would know. This is way more. I've never heard of this character, and again, I don't know everything about Spider, but I've been doing Spider-Man for a while as far as like following the Rogues Gallery, just adventures and like. Never in my life have I heard of this character.
Mm-hmm.
Ever.
You could have done the Prowler. You could have done Big Wheel. You could have done anybody. Like, this isn't even a character that like showed up for half a second in the Spider-Man video game. Like,
this is like I don't know. I think like did you say what's called the wall or something? Like
mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like I kind of want the wall.
I think he's only been one issue, but he's at least there's something to him. He's a big made of bricks. Like that's something.
Like
He's
this
just a
is
wrestler,
rough, man.
Just
Like
discount
granted,
Bane. Like I don't know.
again, I know we live in a universe where Peacemaker has a great show apparent on HBO Max, which is something I never thought I'd ever say.
No,
But
I
mean, this is like because again, there's no Spider-Man in this show or movie, presumably. This is going to be a movie about a villain who has 2 issues. I don't think he's been in anything like media wise. I don't think because I've seen a lot of Spider-Man shows. I've never even like heard of this guy, let alone seen anything of this. So like I don't see this going well. Granted,
no.
I mean, I feel like that kind of went without saying, but
there is something to be said about because he doesn't have much source material, they can kind of do whatever they want with him and kind of like make him their own, I guess. But
I feel like that, I don't know, because I don't know if that works because, like, for one thing, I feel like because it's a Spider-Man villain, and they're not going to use Spider-Man, it kind of doesn't really work. So that's kind of the first kind of, because even Venom, to a certain extent, is like fundamentally flawed. So like with the character as well known and liked as that, and it's like with this, it's like not only does this started with that fundamental flaw, but it also has the giant pillar of no one knows that this character even existed. And yes, you can use that to your advantage theoretically, but it's like, to what end? Like, I mean, what are they even gonna do? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't make movies. This is one of those things where I'm just like, I can't believe this is happening, but I'm sure someone's doing it clearly. So
yep. I don't know. They have gone ahead and greenlit Venom 3, so they are still trying to continue in that universe as best they can, I guess. Did you actually see Morbius?
Yes, I actually did. Yeah.
Okay. You wanna talk about it?
I'll talk about it. Okay, so
go.
All right, so here's the thing. Morbius is not absolute total 1000% garbage. It is like 95% garbage, but it's not like it's not like it's like I don't want to watch it again. It was it was weird and it didn't really make any sense, but okay. So basically how it goes is, Michael Morbius is this like super successful medical doctor / brilliant, and he invents artificial blood, which is like, medically speaking, would be ridiculous, like unreal, like every Nobel Prize ever probably. But he does all this, but he's this, he has this terminal illness. Basically, I don't think it's ever described, but he has like crutches. He's got like, he needs to get like dialysis or something every couple of hours and all that stuff. But basically, it goes into he's trying to do whatever to find a cure. So he's studying vampire bats, yada, yada, yada. All this experimental work, turns himself into a vampire. Like, yeah. So it's, first of all, the CGI does not get better than it does in the trailer, so that's a thing. So that's a thing. Because I was watching, I was like, I wonder if it's really still gonna be the way. It looks the same. But yeah, there's so pretty much he kind of goes on this rampage and just, is a vampire. He sucks people's blood and he's trying to control it because he doesn't want to kill people, but like, but obviously people notice like, hey, he's not crippled, but like a guy who can't walk without crutches is not only like magically jacked, but also like, can just do, I mean, he's totally fine. It's like, he just looks like he just killed P90X. You're just kind of like, you look different. What happened? And like, he just kind of brushes it off. And I'm like, how does no one like, You know what I mean? Like,
I love
am I the
it
only one who
when they
noticed
do
that?
that.
So, I mean, he
I got
does
better.
kind of like, but like, obviously they see like the bodies he's found, so they're trying to go at, the police, which is, I guess the FBI or whoever. It's like Tyrese
Tyrese
Gibson
Gibson.
and some other character who's kind of funny, but kind of weird. They kind of just kind of leisurely go after him, which is kind of funny to me. Cause I'm kind of like, if this guy like, cause there's a term, I forgot what the term is, but they like, when he sucks their blood, they're like completely liquidless. Like there's no blood in them. And there's some like special term for it. But they're just like casual, like, oh, that's crazy. And I'm like, are y'all not freaked out by that? Like, how was it reacting so casual to this? Like like if that happened in real life, people would be like, get everyone. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's ridiculous. But they're just kind of like, what, this at worst case, best case scenario, this is just a serial killer who has a specific way of killing people, but it's like a monster. So they're just kind of like, yeah, whatever. We'll just, two guys, we'll just walk around and do this. And we're just like, all right. Anyway, so Morbius has this friend who he grew up with that had the same disease and him. They grew up together in an orphanage or some super hospital, some kind of hospital, whatever. They grew up together. His original name is said once, but he does this thing where, oh, you're just Milo, because everyone who's my roommate's Milo until they die or whatever. And then for the rest of the movie, everyone calls him Milo. Like the movie just forgot his name wasn't Milo. And I don't know, maybe if that was just like a thing, but like that bothered me a lot more than it should have, because you could have just named him Milo. Like you didn't have to do that. Like he had, like, granted,
it's like the movie did name him Milo, and then they did a reshoot to show him younger, calling him Milo, and then the rest of the movie forgetting they established that, so they just kept calling him Milo.
Yes, but it definitely felt like, wait, what? Like I don't, because because it's not just Morbius. Like everyone who talks to this character calls him Milo, and he doesn't like respond. He responds to it. He goes, I'm pretty sure he even introduces himself as Milo. So like, I think the character's just Milo now. I don't know if he just accepted, okay, I'm just gonna get renamed by some other random kid, but he's just Milo, and that's just whatever. But anyway, Milo has the same disease. Apparently, is like, I think he's rich or something, because he has this like pretty dope place and everything. But he's still actively, he's still like dying. He's terminal, whatever. Obviously, notice that Michael's like awesome, jacked, and all that. And he's like, I'll have what he's having. So he's like, Milo, what's going on? What can you do? He's like, no, I can't do it to you, man. It makes me a vampire. I can't control all this stuff. And of course, the guy doesn't listen. And then he takes a serum, and you guessed it, the exact same thing, but slightly grayer. So he's another vampire guy. So, and then it's weird because they like kind of fight, but you can't really like, they do this thing where when they like see this like effect thing when they fly and run fast, it's like these lines around them. It's kind of like the Flash, but like blurrier. So it's really hard to see what's going on, because obviously it's all taking place at night anyway. Which, by the way, you can walk around the sun apparently, so that doesn't affect him, which, I don't know if that affected him originally, but I just thought that was it. I was like, oh, okay, guess for not. That's fine, whatever. But anyway, yeah. So they had this whole fight. Also, Morbius has this like coworker girl who helps him, and for some reason, like they weren't together at the beginning, but for some reason, after he turns into a vampire, she's like, now let's get together. And it's weird because it's like,
sure,
what? Like, I don't know. I was just kind of like, I don't see why now it's like, oh yeah, like if they were like married or together before, and then it's like, oh, I still love you anyway. That makes sense. But it was like, we're just co-workers, and then later it's like, actually, I've always cared. I'm just like, what? Okay, I'm like, I'm pretty sure he still has blood on his teeth, but all right. Like, so that happens. And of course, she dies, except not because she's a vampire too, because at some point, some of his blood got on her. I don't remember how it happened. It doesn't
Whatever.
All that to say, basically, the two guys who grew up together, they're both vampires now. The one guy, the other, Milo, who is not his real name, whatever, just doesn't care about being evil. He just does whatever he wants because, like, basically it's kind of like drugs. It's like if you don't, suck somebody's blood for a certain amount of time, you like lose it. So he has no problem just killing people and whatever. Because he's like, the world's been crap to me, so I'll be crap to the world. Never seen that motivation before. But it's just kind of like they fight, and then he kills Milo. I don't remember how it happened. It was just kind of, oh, okay, of course he did.
I heard there was a point where he like bat bended.
Wait, what is
Like
that?
made sort of bats, and he
Oh
like
yeah, he like summoned bats somehow, which was never explained. But yeah, he kind of did he did like the Batman Begins thing, except without any. Yeah, he just kind of stuck his hand out, and then it got all quiet, and then bats just kind of came out of everywhere and like destroyed the guy. It was weird because it was like theoretically, couldn't he just do that back to you first of all? And also, it was just kind of like, I don't know if it was trying to like mirror the scene at the beginning, because like that's how he cut his hand and that's how the vampire bats like came out to him. So I think that's what they were going for, but I don't really. Sure. I don't know. It was never established that like he could do that at any point. So it's just kind of like, all right, I guess he could just do that. But yeah, that all happened. It's highly anticipated. It was highly set up that like, oh, Ezekiel's coming or something. Also, after credits scene.
Yep.
What? Like, so not just Michael Keaton, but legitimately the Vulture, like not like another version, like the same dude, same costume, same guy, same everything. Acknowledges he's in a different universe, which does that even make sense? Because how does he go from like, I understand he is a person who knows that's fine. I guess based on Far From Home logic or No Way Home logic, he is a person who knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man, but why would that send him to a different universe?
Yeah, because MJ, Ned, and Doctor Strange knew both.
Right.
They weren't ejected from their universe.
Right.
Happy knew both. He wasn't ejected.
No,
like they just lost their memory.
Most of the Avengers, like, you know what I mean? Pretty much everyone he has been in contact with that was still alive is like aware of this. But like for some reason, specifically Vulture gets teleported to their universe and apparently had all his equipment and everything too, because he just has his flight suit, which I'm like, how does he have that? That doesn't, because he wasn't wearing it when he got teleported, I would assume, because he was in prison. So like, because he just teleports to, he's like, this is a different cell or something. So like, he's still in like, prison gear. So I assume he didn't have the suit on. So unless he just built it all, which I don't think is canonically true. I don't think he built it himself, did he?
The Tinkerer built it for him.
Right. So like
whatever that guy's, like his team built it for him.
Right. So like I don't think he could. Maybe he could build another one, but seemingly, and who knows how.
He also built it out of like the remains of Chitauri.
Right.
So I don't think Chitauri exists in this universe, not yet.
Yeah, so. Which doesn't make any sense. Plus, I feel like this universe. Granted, this universe has the likes of artificial blood, so maybe their technology is more advanced, but I don't think so. That was the only thing that was different. But yeah, none of that made any sense. It just kind of was there. And he's like, we should team up to take down Spider-Man. And like, the other guy does not know who Spider-Man is. Like, and that's kind of what bothers me. It's like, you can't play that off. Like, he does not know who Spider-Man is. Like, don't.
So Vulture just flies in to
he's
randomly.
Like at the end.
Morbius is in the middle of nowhere. Morbius just flies in, tells Morbius, hey, you look strong. You should help me fight this guy you don't know. And Morbius is like, okay. And then
kind of, that's kind of how it just kind of ends. And I'm like, that makes no sense. Like, Spider-Man does not, as far as I can tell, Spider-Man doesn't exist in this universe. Morbius has had no interaction with him as far as we can tell. So I don't. Plus, granted, he definitely killed people because he was a vampire, but like, he's not really like the movie tries to make him like a ambiguous, like he's not like a bad guy because he does try to save and not hurt people and save other
Mhm.
people from his friend who doesn't care about hurting people. But it's not like he's established. Like he's a doctor, so it's just, he's a good guy. But it's like it's not established that he's like a villain, but he's not really a hero. He's kind of just a guy who was trying to not be a vampire, who is still a criminal, by the way. But whatever. But I don't know. I don't know. The movie's weird because the movie tries to make you want to root for him, but it's like based on literally nothing. Because I feel like we didn't have enough time to establish that he was a good guy before. Because they just assumed that like, hey, he won a Nobel Prize. He's probably a good dude. Like they didn't like. I mean, there was like half a scene with the little girl, but even then it was kind of a weird scene, so it didn't really work. But I don't know. I feel like the movie didn't do enough to establish Morbius's character to justify the change, nor to really tell if he's any different from when he started, other than the obvious power differences. And also the typical, I am you, but stronger villain, which I feel like everyone saw coming immediately as he had enough. Like, because the thing is, like, the guy who had, like, he had a buddy who had the same exact illness as him. And it's like, oh, Morbius is smart, so he goes to smart schools, and then the other kid's not a genius, so he, stays there and gets bullied by the other kids, which is like, oh wow, saw that coming. Like he's gonna be the evil one. Like, but like, I don't know. I mean,
this is the third time a Sony Spider-Man movie Spider-Man movie has done this, by the way, with Venom and Carnage, and now other bad guy. Like, they just can't get away from you, but better villains.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, because it was like that, and it was kind of just, I don't know. It was just, I don't know. Apparently, according to my friend, I was too harsh on the movie, which could be true, because maybe I just didn't want, but at the same time, it was not that great. Like, there was no part of the movie that I was like, that was really cool. I was kind of just like, all right, I saw that movie. Like, I wasn't really that, I don't know. There was not, no, it wasn't that good. It wasn't very memorable. I don't remember. None of the characters really stuck out to me. It kind of just happened, and then the after credit scene just kind of made me like, what? But
I would like to believe we live in a world where the MCU can just kind of ignore that happened, or like, I don't know. Like I like, as far as the MCU is concerned, Vulture is still here. Like if they for some reason continue with Morbius stuff and Vulture is over there, whatever. But like, I would like to believe there is still a universe where a Sinister Six in the MCU can exist with Vulture in it, in the MCU, with this Spider-Man, with these characters already established in the MCU. But I don't know. Because that just seems so clunky and bad. Just be like, I'm gonna kill Spider-Man, like a different Spider-Man, I guess. Like, because you already established you're in a different cell in a different universe, but now you want to go kill a Spider-Man who, I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts to it. I'm just kind of like, I don't see this going on. And like a Morbius sequel, I'm just kind of like, for what? Like, what's he gonna do? Like, just, I don't know. I don't know, man. Like, it was hard to care. Like, it was hard to care. I tried, but we do what we can. But
yep. And currently, Morbius is sitting at right about where I thought it would end up. It's sitting at 161 million, which is like
not great.
Not.
What was the budget on that?
Let's find out. Somewhere in the range of 75 to 85. So like, it may be technically broke even after, well, maybe not, considering they had to market it for 3 years. Because it was originally going to come out March 2020, then got delayed. It got delayed even before pandemic happened. It got delayed, and then it got delayed again, and they got delayed like they were like it's going to come out early 2021. They got delayed to mid 21. Then it got delayed to October 21. They got delayed to January 22. They got delayed to April 22. Right. Now it's out, and we don't care.
Yeah, it's like it's got
so they were pushing it for 3 years, and then yeah.
Yeah, I
don't
don't
know.
know. I don't know.
They're definitely hoping it would make more, but it maybe technically broke even enough for them to maybe consider making sequels. But
I don't know, man. I hope not. 'Cause I just,
mhm.
I mean, they can. They do what they want. I don't know. I'm not. I
I
don't.
wouldn't
I didn't
recommend
really
it.
want to see this one, and I don't feel bad because now I've seen it, and I'm like, yeah, that wasn't great. But
Yeah, but yeah, I have a huge feeling that El Muerto isn't actually going to come out. I have a huge feeling that stuff like Pray with the Hunter and Madam Web, they probably will, but people just aren't going to see those, and I think this universe is just going to kind of quietly go away, and then hopefully Sony will wisen up and just give Marvel for the rights back. It's not worth it. Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, they are making movies. Are they good? But they do exist, so
Yeah.
that's something.
At least we have a Venom symbiote in the MCU, so that could still, do something in the future. So,
Maybe.
yeah, we'll see. Moving over to DC stuff, the Batman 2 has officially been announced to be in development.
Woo!
Yes, not that I had any doubts,
No.
but considering just how good the Batman is, I'm glad it's getting a sequel. Make as many of these as you can.
Yeah, it'd be kind of awkward if it ended how it ended and not have a sequel also. So
Yeah. Yeah, like clearly DC is wising up and like, oh, people like this a lot. They went ahead and fast tracked a Penguin thing, an Arkham Asylum thing, Batman 2. Like they're, whatever you can make out of this universe, make it.
yeah.
Shazam 2 has actually been delayed 1 week. Originally, it was going to come out the same day as Avatar 2, but now it's coming out a week after, which I think is the right choice.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Although I probably, if possible, I would have pushed it up a week if you could have.
Yeah. But we're back. I mean, do you really think Avatar 2 is gonna be, that movie or?
I need to see the first trailer. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's at least going to look good, but I don't know how good the actual movie was going to be, considering the first one I didn't like very much. But which apparently I think is called Way of the Water. Avatar: Way of the Water. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the first trailer for that is going to come out with Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. So this weekend I'm going to at least see it in some capacity in a theater. So yeah. But I do think Shazam Fury of the Gods kind of it needed. I think it delaying a week was the right choice, or at least getting out of the way of at least not being on the same day as Avatar 2. That makes sense.
Yeah, giving it a little more space.
They haven't revealed, like actually shown the new footage of the Flash, but apparently there was a new trailer or new like sneak peek for the Flash at this convention. Apparently it was very Michael Keaton Batman heavy, because when you're watching a Flash movie, you want to have Batman as your star. Okay.
I mean, it is. To be fair, it is Michael Keaton Batman, but yeah,
Sure.
like. I mean, I don't know, man. I got to bail Ezra out before they get him back in the trailer. Low hanging fruit. I'm sorry,
but they apparently, I don't know if it was in the trailer or if they just confirmed this. Apparently, Zod will return in some capacity in that movie.
Like from Man of Steel's on.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I mean, then I don't know. I guess that is kind of the theme, like reprisal. I guess.
So
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah, okay. I mean, I guess it's a different universe, so why can't he be here?
I don't know. I mean, at this, I mean, it's kind of like I think they're just trying to like add more stuff. So it's like look at everything we brought versus look at what we made. Like it's kind of just it's like if you can't cook, make sure you have good sides. You know what I mean? Like so we'll see. But again, it still could be pretty good. I mean, there's still time, but we'll see.
Yes, I still need to actually once they release that trailer or that teaser, whatever it is, and I'll make a judgment, but I'm still don't have the highest hopes for that movie.
Yeah.
Or I guess Warner Brothers / DC has also gone ahead and announced that they are officially canceling Batwoman and Legends of Tomorrow off the CW.
I mean, okay, so Batwoman, that should have been a while ago. But Legends, it's like
after Ruby Rose just left the project, I thought, why'd you make more?
Yeah, that was kind of my thing. It's like, dude, your main character just walked out. Like, you should probably let that go. And it was like, okay, we'll just recast her. No, we're gonna make a new character and acknowledge that this character is no longer this character. And it's like that is, I don't know
weird.
about that.
That's weird. Okay.
I don't know. Like, well, it's interesting because usually when there's like a show that's been going for a while and a character leaves, I'm all for just making a new character and just letting that character not be in the show. Now, when it's your main character after one season, first of all, if your main character leaves at all, you probably need to end the show because it kind of doesn't work. But yeah, if the main character leaves after one season, that's just a train wreck. Because it's like, when you think about like a lot, like whenever I think of like recasts that I didn't enjoy, like I think of like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when like, Aunt Viv leaves and it's like they just kind of replace her with a different character and see, basically like I wonder if anyone will notice. Like obviously it's a different person, but like, it's the same character. Versus I feel like if they had to just, added a new character and that character's not in, I feel like it would have kind of kept the integrity of the character, but at the same time, it's not the main character, so the show survives. Versus here, it's like if the main character walks out in season one, just cut it. Because the show wasn't doing well to begin with, so it's kind of like, I don't know. I'm sure I'm sure whoever was working on it obviously doesn't want their, their work to be, forsaken. But at the same time, it's like you kind of have to, when the writing's on the wall, you kind of have to take it as it is.
Yeah, it was one of those shows where like, kind of like Arrow, where they just repurposed a bunch of Batman villains into Batwoman and just like they make sense here now. It's like no, they don't. Okay.
So wait, okay, I have a question. So like the CW straight up has a Superman and Lois show. Why don't they just do a Batman show? Like I feel like that. Like why are they still kicking around? But like Batman, but not using is Batman used in too many things or like? Because I feel like Superman is on that same level. So like I don't get it.
He showed up briefly in the Crisis of Infinite Earths as Kevin Conroy playing him.
Yeah, so. but like I don't know. It's like why don't we like? I understand the Superman Lois show is like he's not like always being Superman red and blue and grabbing planes out of the sky, but I mean it is Clark Kent Superman. So like
still Superman. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they don't want it to overlap too much with the Titans show on HBO.
I guess, but doesn't that show up Superboy? Like
does.
So like I don't know.
Yeah,
it is what it is. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
apparently Legend of Tomorrow, like I kind of stopped watching after season 3. I just kind of fell off it. Apparently it was like still pretty consistently good like throughout.
Really?
So yeah. Like I don't know. I haven't watched the past 3 seasons, but apparently like it didn't have the major fall off that Flash did, which after season 2 it just dipped
Gosh.
entirely.
Yeah.
Yet the Flash is still going and hasn't been officially canceled, I don't think.
As far as I think they're on. I think they're going for season 9.
Yeah. Arrow didn't even get 9 seasons.
Nope.
Not that it was like that great, but like I don't know.
But
Hmm.
they're still doing their thing. That's for sure. But
Yep. It's
I don't
funny
know.
that of the original Arrowverse shows, the Flash is going to be the only one left because Black Lightning only lasts 2 years. Arrow's done, Legend of Tomorrow's done, Batwoman's done. 30 more?
Supergirl.
Supergirl's done, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I guess Superman Lois is like a spinoff of Supergirl.
because it is the same Superman. That's right. And I remember everyone
Yeah.
complaining because they didn't like the Superman. Which,
No,
granted, he doesn't really look that much like. I mean, he does look
He
kind of
acts
small.
like him, but doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't.
Yeah, that's kind of the main thing. It's like, well, I mean, if he can pull it off, that's all that matters. But
Yeah, I do kind of feel like because they're canceling all these CW shows, this is kind of priming them to focus more on HBO Max stuff. Since Peacemaker was so popular, Titans is still going. Not that it's very good, but like it's on there.
right.
And also Superman Lois, I think simul streams with HBO Max and CW. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if in the future they just kind of focus on HBO Max stuff.
And that would make more sense because that is obviously their biggest thing right now. So
yeah, but well, I mean, yeah, it's a matter of time before Flash gets canceled. Surprised it hasn't gotten canceled yet, but
yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. We've said that a while ago. Like between everything happening and all the directors and all this, I don't see it. But like now, it's like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, we'll see. In other nerd news, it's confirmed that the Mario movie has officially been delayed out of this year into next April. So, yeah. Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not losing sleep over it. I still feel like a Mario movie doesn't really make sense. But again, if there's a world where the Lego movie is kind of great. So like
also voiced by Chris Pratt.
So this is true. That's what I was thinking. I was like, they even got Chris Pratt back. So like maybe. I am cautiously. I'm not. I don't want to say cautiously optimistic. I'm kind of just like, we'll see. I'm not saying either way, but I feel like we'll see what happens.
Okay. Well, the last little bit of news that I have is that even though E3 is not technically happening in a traditional sense this year, Microsoft has gone ahead and confirmed that a Microsoft/Bethesda showcase will still happen on June 12th in that normal time slot.
Okay, yeah, that's the typical, E3.
Yeah.
So it'll be something at least.
Yeah, I have a feeling now that Microsoft will lead the charge, at least Nintendo and maybe some of these other big studios are going to kind of also go.
Do you think they'll just do what E3 does, but just not have E3?
Yeah, literally, I think that's what's going to happen.
Why? What was the point of that, though? Does that kind of just defeat the purpose?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
It's like
essentially, well, I think because last year they realized we can do it all digitally and we don't need the E3 banner to be successful. Because before they kind of needed the ESA. Yes, yeah, they needed the ESA to help procure the convention center and help with security there. That's why they needed that organized banner under E3. But now that it's all a digital space, they don't need the organization to do it for them. They can just kind of do it themselves. So
Mhm.
all these different companies can still have press conferences in that week. Kind of like, they can still team up and be like, hey, we're just going to still do E3, just not call it E3 because we don't need to. We just, it's all digital anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense, but like, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. But regardless, knowing that at least Microsoft is going to have something to, something
Right.
E3 related is pretty
They're
cool.
like,
Yeah, we still.
yeah, they're like, we're not going to do E3, but like, they're like, well, we're going to do something, which, I can respect that too,
Because it would be easy just to have like, a random, like 6-minute Starfield reveal trailer, just like, just randomly during the summer. But
Mhm.
if they could have that along with more information on all these other games that are also coming out or announced already, whatever, like that's good too.
Yeah, grouped together, might as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, is there anything else you want to bring up or discuss? That's all I have.
I think that's everything. Doctor Strange does come out this Friday. So
Yep. I'm seeing it on Saturday. Like it is.
okay, yeah,
happening.
no, I got my tickets for Friday. It's funny because I got nervous because my cousin's graduating from college, having her graduation this weekend, and I was like, oh no, because I was like, please don't make me make a choice because I'm gonna make a choice you're not proud of. So, but thankfully, we're going on Friday. No, they're not. The graduation's not till Saturday, so I was like, okay, cool. We can make because I was really worried because we bought the tickets and I totally forgot about it, and I was like, oh no.
Yep.
I was like, I'm not giving these tickets away, but I'm also really don't want you guys to be like, you're an adult, so make your own choice. And I'll be like, oh, you shouldn't have said that. So I'll be like, I'll do the right thing here. Man, I hope that graduation went well. Oh man. But yeah, really excited. Big time, big time stuff. It's already May, which is,
it feels weird, but yes,
it
is
feels
May
weird, right? All out. Like, it's just it's weird that it's May, but I also like it because it's warm and like the sun is out for longer than like 3 hours a day. And but Doctor Strange is
I just need to dodge spoilers for a day and a half, but I should be fine.
Actually, I think I gotta go into spoiler protocol. I gotta get rid of everything I have on my phone and stuff. But
apparently some major leaks like dropped today. Not to mention random TV spots already showing like pretty major stuff. Like
what?
I'm not gonna like. Do you care about?
No, it's all right.
No. You'll see.
We'll go in. I don't want to know anything that I wouldn't know from just watching the 2 trailers. So like,
so if like a TV spot on like shows up on YouTube, either muted or try to skip as soon as possible.
That's probably I'm probably just gonna like exit out and then go. Like, I don't know. I know this is completely random, but since you brought up YouTube, what is it like? I know this is going on YouTube, so I don't want to trash YouTube. Never mind. Well, I'll tell you.
Do it.
Okay, so like, you ever look up like you're trying to look at like an 8-second clip, and then you get like a 30-second unskippable ad? Why?
Love it.
Just why? Like by the time the ad is over, I don't even remember what I was looking for, and I don't probably want it anymore. It's just kind of like,
I don't. Yeah.
I don't know. You're just like, why are you like this? Like if my ad is like, I feel like if a clip is shorter than 15 seconds, it should have no ads, period, because a 15-second ad is like longer than the clip. It's like, come on, like really? But
I mean, because you're not gonna get. I don't know. I get that. Like that's the main way YouTube and creators make money is off of ad revenue, but I don't, I don't know. Yeah,
No,
it's just annoying.
it's annoying, and it's like that thing where it's like, well, what are you gonna do about it? Not use YouTube? No, obviously I'm gonna use YouTube. Like, or like Netflix is getting commercials soon, and like, I don't.
No, Netflix is gonna die soon. We've already talked about
Yeah,
how
I'm about to say.
not
I think.
only are they increasing their price and then taking away a bunch of good shows,
Yep.
they're also cutting down. They're trying to crack down on,
Yep.
you know, because they're losing subscribers, they're trying to crack down on password sharing.
Yeah, that's not going to go well. Because again,
Yeah.
see, back when it was just Netflix, you could get away with that. But now there's so many other streaming services. People will just like that. People only the only reason people still have Netflix is because Netflix was the first one. But I
Yep.
think once people start to leave, they're going to realize, like, because I'll be honest, like, I don't really use that. Like, the only thing I've used Netflix for lately is I binged Bridgerton and I binged one show, but that was like a weekend. You know what I mean? But like by
Yeah.
usual, it's like HBO Max or Disney Plus, honestly, or occasionally I'll go to Hulu and watch some shows. But like
yeah, every good show they have that I get invested in is canceled after 2, maybe 3 seasons. So I don't have much reason to stick around. Like they generally have the best comedy specials, but like I think if Amazon or HBO just got a little more aggressive and bought the rights to more comedy specials, then they could basically just kind of corner Netflix out of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like everyone's taking their pieces back from Netflix, what they have. So Netflix is going to be left with just their OG content, and then their OG content's not going to hold up because Stranger Things was almost done, and then everything else was kind of like.
Like The Crown isn't going to keep people around that much.
No, I don't think so.
Like I don't know if The Witcher's coming back. Like maybe it will. I don't know. My brother and I wanted to watch. Like we haven't ever seen Always Sunny, which like I've seen a couple of episodes. I haven't like just watched it. And apparently, literally like right before we started watching it, they took it off Netflix and put it on Hulu. So like. I mean, we watched the first couple of episodes, but because we have the Hulu with Spotify, we have ads on Hulu, so it's just not as bingeable on Hulu. We just haven't like watched much more. But if it was on Netflix, we could have just barreled through it.
I mean.
But then again, if Netflix also adds ads,
right? That's what I'm saying. It's like they're adding ads, and it's like plus the shows might not say, or like sometimes Netflix will add shows, but not all the episodes, which is really weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because they did iCarly, and I was like, oh, who watched one of that? And I'm like, this is not all the episodes of iCarly. Like and I'm just kind of like, why would you upload it but not have all? Like, it's not like it's an ongoing show. It's been over for like 10 years. Like, why don't you have all of it?
And they have all of Avatar and Legend of Korra.
They do.
So there's that for now.
Yeah, but I mean, if they didn't have all, but then again, if they didn't have all the episodes, like, I feel like it's way more noticeable when you have a sequential show that you don't have all the episodes, but still. I don't know, but.
Oh well. I give them 2 years before they start like either getting really desperate or just close up.
I don't think they'll make it that long, to be honest. I say by the end of next year, Netflix is gone.
Maybe.
Yeah. I could be wrong. We'll see.
I hope that Avatar or Last Airbender show comes out before then, because at least want to see what that looks like.
I kind of do, but I also kind of don't. At this point, I'm kind of like, because again, preserve the legacy, man. Like, best case scenario, it's on par. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be very hard to be better. So it's like, I don't see this going. I mean, even if it's like also really good, I don't think it improves anything. I think it just reiterates. But I just say keep it. I would just continue going, just get the next Avatar or whatever. I know the cycle was apparently ends with Korra. I don't remember how that ended, but
it doesn't end with Korra. It's just the next Avatar is only going to have Korra to talk to.
Okay, which I feel like that would actually kind of be interesting because, like, we could see how Korra develops and like becomes wiser, but also, you're only gonna have her opinion, which is like probably the murdery type. So like, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
how can I find a peaceful solution? Well, you could burn him to death. It's like, no.
Or rock at him,
Korra.
stop it.
It's like, no, in herself. And I think that it would be like kind of cool because it's like, you're so used to like, oh, what would, because like I know Aang was always like, what would Yoshi say? What would Heroku say? What, all this. And then like here it's just like only cool. It could be like almost kind of like a Yu-Gi-Oh thing where it's like you got the inner or it's like,
Yeah.
almost like backseat avataring kind of like, I don't know, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
But
I still personally think it would be so cool to have Avatar twins.
yeah,
Like,
two and
either
two.
have, and there's like three different ways you can go with that. Either having like twins, both of them having two powers each,
Right.
both literally being two different avatars, probably one being evil just because, why
Right.
not?
Because
Or one is the avatar and one twin is not, and that one twin who's not doesn't have
Just
any
has
bending at
nothing.
all. It like feels left out.
Yeah.
But just
I
there's
I I kind of like the idea where it's like they're both full avatars, but they have to learn in opposite orders, or like opposite, like one starts with just fire, one starts with just like air or something, or whatever the opposite of that. I keep forgetting. It's not.
Yes. No.
Yeah.
Earth and air. Earth and air.
Okay. Yeah. So let's start with like earth and air. So they have to like go around, and by the time they get to the end, they've seen the world at different times in different areas, so they have completely different philosophies from when they started. So I feel like,
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool because they could,
or if they both essentially like one has fire and earth, one has wind and water, and like they have to like hold hands to get the avatar state or something, like that could be fun.
That would be kind of cool, actually. Yeah. Or but they would still. Well, I'm trying to think how they would do it, because I know with Korra, they just kind of, the White Lotus kind of just kept her together and just brought the teachers to her, and so they have to having to travel the world, which I feel like it would be more fun if they had to travel, because I feel like that's more.
Yes.
I don't know. That'd be cool. And like you could have you could make the sibling rivalry so much more like impactful, because it's literally like, I'm you but better, or like, you know what I mean? Like I mastered my elements in this many years, and you're still just on your first one. Like, oh my gosh,
like fire was always the hardest for you to master, and like whereas he just like just make a giant fireball.
Exactly.
And like they know each other weaknesses and know each other.
Yeah, dude, that'd be so good. And then of course they get manipulated into war against each other. And you have Avatar War, bro. But do you think they would both be able to like talk to the same past life? Would that work?
I think so.
That'd be interesting. You could get like that. See, I don't know. I feel like that's a good idea. I feel like finding an area in there and making that work, I feel like that could really work.
Or even just more Avatar stuff. Like, it doesn't have to be the twin idea. I just feel like that could be really cool. But just further in the timeline, like
just the next. We need an Earth-based Avatar. Because that's the next one. Because I feel like we saw enough of Roku that like that would pass as a fire starter. So it's like Earth's the only one we haven't like really seen, I guess. But
yeah, plus I personally think earthbending is the coolest bending type.
It does.
So cool. Seeing a whole show kind of through the eyes of earthbender could be pretty cool.
Yeah. Just a very, everyone's like, oh, he's just a very like, nope, this is what we're gonna do. Goes poorly.
Yeah, the only real issue with going forward in the timeline of Avatar stuff is kind of a problem that Korra ran into, where like, what's next? What's the next big baddie? When like you have the Fire Lord, you have anarchists, you have evil avatars, like what's next?
I mean, monsters. I don't know. Maybe that's too anime.
I mean, it is kind of an anime.
It is. Like, I don't know. Like, because I'm trying to think. So I'm like, oh, that makes sense. But it's like, I feel like you could kind of just do war again. Like war is never. I know that's kind of lazy, but like it's not like war stops. Like you know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's not like a hey man, we're only doing this World War thing once. Like so, like you know, like
Aliens.
right? I don't know,
Bring in
like
aliens.
hey, or alien, right?
Yeah.
What? Okay, so in 100 years, they went from. Do you think they'd be like to now then? Because like the amount of like it was more than 100 years from Aang to Korra in terms of how technology went. It feels like so,
Mhm.
but so theoretically, they would be like at least to now, if not probably ahead of us.
Yeah, but it was like 70 years their time, but it was,
It was like
yeah.
double that. So assuming Korra
Yeah,
doesn't
like
die, that
super
yeah,
futuristic could be kind of
maybe not
interesting.
super futuristic, but kind of like current because they have because like you know cars were already a thing. So like imagine like they were like I guess the roaring 20s, I guess. So it'd probably be
Mhm.
at least 2000s theoretically.
Yeah.
So like yeah, they could. I mean, it could be somewhat. I will say a future Avatar would be awesome.
Mhm.
You can have like
And like you could have like combining, I don't know, earth and fire and like technology bend.
ooh
Yeah.
technology bend, like metal bending. Yeah, you could like if you mix metal bending with like lightning, that could like
Hmm.
yeah.
I can make it work.
That could, I mean, you could throw something together. That could work. Like
Mm,
you could make that work, or like cars and like hovercrafts instead of like regular cars, and like
mhm. And
yeah.
there's way more there's way more airbenders now since,
Right.
yeah.
Airbenders are like still a minority, but definitely like more than like the five they had. So
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, there's so many different cool ways to do, and I really hope that whole Avatar Studios thing with Paramount Plus is cooking up some cool ideas and not just,
mhm,
you know, as much as I would like to see like on an older Aang and the rest of the group doing things. I would
that
like
would
to
be
see them
awesome too.
pushing forward. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's two show ideas right there. I mean,
Hmm. Take them.
back, please.
Okay. Anything else?
It's all I've got.
With that, we'll see you all next time.
Take care.